The topic of today's talk is why we struggle to understand and make progress in Dhamma. And the sutta that we're going to look at is the Anumana Sutta. So this is Majjhima Nikaya discourse number 15. So with this particular sutta, the reason why we look at it is because all of us want to understand Dhamma. All of us want to make progress in Dhamma. And Buddha praises when we are able to make progress. And he says that it's when we increase our wholesome qualities and decrease our unwholesome qualities. That's how we make progress. And many of us don't often realize that sometimes we are stagnating, sometimes we have difficulty understanding, and certain things like that. So the Anumana Sutta is very, very helpful for that. Venerable Mahamokkalana's teaching is very, very helpful. The other thing that the Buddha does say, when we start with the Sutra Sutta does say, is that there are two qualities that help us to make progress. The first one is Suvachasata, that we are easy to instruct, easy to admonish. And the second one is when we have good friends, Kalyanamitta. And when we make progress, this is the opposite, when we decline, is when we are associated with bad friends and when we are difficult to instruct. So we know that this is something that we really want to practice, to be easy to instruct, which is what we're going to focus on today. Now, when it comes to and especially when it comes to being easy to instruct and having good friends, if you remember, Venerable Ananda in the Vipada Sutta says to the Buddha, good friends are 50% of his spiritual journey, his spiritual path. And the Buddha corrects him and says, no, Ananda, it is 100%. And when we look at this Anumana Sutta, which translates as inference or measuring up, this is a way of how we can measure ourselves to see whether we are blocking ourselves to the Dhamma, when we are blocking ourselves from the good qualities that are good friends to help us, noble beings, wise beings. So the Anumana Sutta tells us how to do that. Now, the role model for someone who is suvacha is someone like Venerable Radhathera. If you remember the Dhammapada verse number 76, Venerable Radhathera, before he was a bhikkhu, he was a poor Brahmin, elderly man, and he used to hang around the monastery. And nobody sponsored him. Anybody who has something from his and so in the end, what happened was this Brahmin ordained. And the interesting part of the story for us today is that when he ordained, he was very suvacha. He was very easy to instruct. He listened to Venerable Sariputta's instructions. And he therefore so these four elderly Brahmin men. So that's our encouragement today. Now there are many examples in this who are not instruct. The one that is Devadatta. So some of these qualities that we'll go through in the Anumana Sutta, they resonate with someone like Devadatta. or Kukalika, people like that. So bear that in mind. So Venerable Mahamoggallana, he starts the teaching by coming out and saying to the monks, if someone were to come up and ask for instruction, ask for feedback, but they have difficulty to instruct, and they have qualities which are difficult to instruct, and when they receive the teaching, they're impatient and they don't receive the instruction well. So that's the first thing. And he said, what happens is the person who's offering to instruct realizes this person is very difficult to instruct. And then ends up after a while realizing this person cannot be trusted. And we'll come back to that. The second part of the sutta, the Venerable then goes to the opposite, which is what makes a person easy to instruct. That this is a person who doesn't even ask for feedback, but when you give it, is willing to receive it. Listens with eager ears, is willing to follow the instruction properly, and therefore that person is trustworthy. So you know that the people are happy to be friends with that person, to instruct, to Dhamma. And then what Venerable Mahamoggallana does is go through each of the qualities. So I'll list out the 15 qualities that are delicious, not easy to instruct, difficult to instruct. So the first one is that one has bad wishes and is dominated by bad wishes. The second is one glorifies himself and is contemptuous to others. The next four are around anger. So angry and overcome by anger, angry and hostile with anger. Then we have anger and stubborn with anger. And then the last of the anger is you're angry and you're boring words of anger. And then the next five are associated with when someone gives you feedback or tries to instruct you, tries to polish you. Then the first one is when we're reproved, we resist the reprover. The next one is when we're reproved, we accuse or interrogate the reprover. The next one after that is when we're reproved, we point the finger back at the reprover, point out their faults. The fourth one is when we're reproved, what we do is we barricade. So we leave the talk as talk about something else, but inside we're angry, we're hateful, and we're bitter. And then the next one after that is when we're reproved, we fail to account for our conduct. And I'll explain all of these things one by one, and we'll reflect on them together. So then the next four are linked to the Dhamma Sutta. So the simile of the cloth that we went through last time, for those that were here. And this is pretty much half of the Dhamma Sutta. So it is when we derogate and disparage, when we are envious and stingy, when we are obstinate and arrogant, and when we are fraudulent and evil. And then the very last quality, number 16, is when we our views, we give them up with difficulty, and we tenaciously hold on to our own view. So what's really interesting about these is that when you meditate on this for a while, what you understand is that we've been conditioned by our education, by our jobs, by who we are, who we think we are in the world. And so quite often these qualities are what makes us think we should bend with the Dhamma to our way of thinking. And so we're prepared to have certain qualities to tolerate them without getting rid of them. It blocks us. We forget that the Buddha became the Buddha, the Sammasambuddha, after 100,000 years and more of practice perfecting the paramis. And so it's not just somebody who practiced in one lifetime and came and shared Dhamma. Not just one lifetime that they do like a PhD or maybe 5 PhDs. This is a Sammasambuddha who is teaching us Dhamma. And so when you look at the qualities of being ruvacha, of being difficult to instruct, we need to bear in mind that whenever we think, I know better, I can change what the Buddha taught, that is not what we want to do. It makes us difficult to instruct, and we do it in many, many different ways. It's quite shocking how we do it. So bear that in mind when we go through each of the qualities. But as you know, when we do these sessions, what I like to do is we meditate together as I go through each one, because it helps you to understand, how do we actually contemplate this? How do we actually use the words of the Buddha? So in this case, it's Venerable Mahamoggallana, and I'm there to use Buddha interchangeably because everything originates from the Buddha. Whatever Venerable Mahamoggallana has learned is going to come from Samma Buddha. So with the first quality, now Venerable Mahamoggallana says to do this meditation, we need to see that these are things that we find disagreeable in other people. So bear that in mind. And then what we do is we turn that around and we look at ourselves and say, well, if I find that disagreeable in somebody else, then other people will find it terrible in me. Therefore, if I have this, I need to abandon it. I need to clean it. Make a strong determination not to do this. And so that makes it easy to instruct. It's very helpful for metta bhavana. Step number 3 is suvacha. We need to be easy to instruct. So let's go through the first one. The first one is when we have bad wishes and we are dominated by bad wishes. What does this mean? The sutta reference for this is the Anumana Sutta, when we have blemishes. And this is a teaching where there are about 10 things. So if you really want to go very deeply in how we have bad wishes, papicho or papakana, then you look at that sutta. But very simply, what Venerable Sariputta says in this sutta is that we don't like our transgressions, our mistakes, when we break our precepts, to be revealed to anybody. That's the first evil wish. We don't want people to know. The second one is that we prefer if someone is going to give us feedback or admonish us, that it's done in private, not public. The third one is that we want a person we respect, that we think is worthy to give us admonishment, feedback. We don't want to receive it from anybody else. And then the next series of things that are bad wishes is we have almost like the wanting to be praised, wanting to be the one that receives the best seat, wanting to be the one that receives the gifts and offerings, wanting to be the one that is invited to speak, wanting to be the one that is asked by the teacher to speak, things like that. So you see that with these particular qualities, there's a lot of logha, there's a lot of greed in what is being said. So that is what bad wishes and being dominated by bad wishes is all about. So we know people who are like this. You know, people that be first at the buffet table when they come to your house. You know, people that don't like it when they're told off in public. They don't like it if someone maybe younger is telling on an older person or giving advice to an older person. The older person may not want to receive it. Or maybe we have thoughts like, I've been a Buddhist for a long time. Why would this person be able to tell me something? I have good seva. How can this person tell me this? So there are various things we need to investigate because we need to see if these are blocks. So the first thing we do when we contemplate is to think, if I've seen this in other people, and we have seen this in other people, we don't like it. And if you don't like it, then you think of your own examples. Do I have any of these qualities? And if you do, you think, well, other people do not like this in me. And these are people that will help us in the Dhamma path, people that are our spiritual companions. And so when you see it, when you see, oh, this is very unhelpful for the spiritual practice, then what you say in your meditation means, I give up. I give up these bad things. I catch it and I give them up. So right now, just for a few minutes, think of an example that you have, even if it goes back to childhood, if you can't think of one now. But even when you're a child, something that is like all these bad wishes, think about it, claim it, and say, I don't want to do this again. At least now for this meditation, don't worry about what happens outside of this meditation for now. Just do it right now. Okay, just take a few minutes. Now, Venerable Sariputta in that Anumana Sutta was saying, it's like when you carry a freshly cleaned golden bowl and you go to the market and then people see you carrying it and they say, oh, what's in that wonderful, beautiful bowl? And the lid is on it, and so you open it, and inside there's a dead carcass of an animal. It's festering and smells. That's when we have these bad wishes. People will be repulsed when they look inside the bowl. So you see how visual it is. It's really telling us to don't have these things. It's very bad for us. So when we clean of the bad wishes, it's like removing that carcass from the golden bowl. And so when we walk around and we show people the bowl, we're like, oh, that's very nice. Rather than, ew, that's horrible. So that's the first one. So then the second one is when we glorify ourselves and we have contempt for other people. Now, most of us would think, oh, I don't pick myself up, I don't raise myself. But the problem is we have a lot of opinions about people. So when you recognize, sometimes we think, oh, this person is inexperienced, this person is too young, this person is not Buddhist, this person is foreign, this person is not ordained. There are different things that come to the mind. So when we belittle people, when we put them down in our mind, just a thought, that means we raise ourselves. We say, oh, but I'm Buddhist, I'm more mature, my practice is longer, I know more. This is how we do it. So someone may come along and is trying to give us some advice, and maybe this is somebody who is younger than us, only been practicing for a few years. And so when we know this, we think, oh, I won't listen to this person. What do they know? They're going to be practicing for 2 years. They haven't been a Buddhist for their life. And so when you see that, this is an example of glorifying oneself and putting someone else down. And why if the Buddha or Venerable Mahamudana would not recommend it, it's because good qualities, someone who understands the Dhamma, comes in all shapes and sizes, comes in all kinds of packages. Someone who is easy to instruct knows that. And so it's very good to investigate. If we've seen this quality in somebody else, and we hear and we know what that smells like, what it sounds like, what that kind of behavior is like, we don't like it. We don't like when other people belittle us and raise themselves. I talk Dhamma better, my sila is better, I practice longer, my teacher is better, all these different things. And it happens also in daily life. We know people that we work with, people in our family who are like that over mundane things. So the point is, if you recognize that and you look in yourself, do I have an example like that? So bring it to your mind now. Is there an example that you have? And if so, people wouldn't like it. Like spiritual friends, good friends, people would not like that. And so you make a determination, let me give this up now. Let me disapprove of that quality. That's really important. I disapprove of that quality. Okay, take a few moments to think again and reflect on this Dhamma. So then the next four are to do with anger. The first one is when we're angry, we're overcome by anger. So somebody comes and gives us some advice, and immediately in our mind we're thinking, who is this person? Why are they coming to say this to me? And sort of mental hate arises in the mind. So we don't say anything, but it's there in our mind. So we become overcome with anger. The second one is we're angry and then we're hostile. So we might have grudges against certain people. We might think, oh, this person is foolish, or this person is not a nice person, or this person doesn't know certain things. And so in our mind, when they come and maybe offer us some difficult advice or trying to help us out, immediately we're clinging to this idea of this person that we had before, which is unfair. The thing is, good and bad qualities, they're not static. It's not always permanent. So someone who has made mistakes before, maybe told us off before, they're not always bad. They can change. They can have good qualities at times. And likewise, when you're good, you're not good all the time. There are bad qualities that can creep in. So it's very important with this one to recognize sometimes we hold people and hold a grudge. This person has harmed me before. This person is harming me now by coming to talk to me. What we don't realize is when someone comes to instruct, to give feedback, to acknowledge, they're doing it something that is hard. It's very hard to teach someone, to help someone, to acknowledge someone. And so they're doing something hard, and you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing it for your benefit, that they're teaching this or saying this. And we don't have to agree with everything. We can listen and take it away and investigate ourselves. That's the smart thing to do, the wise thing to do. Not to get angry and then hold a grudge, but actually to say, oh, maybe this person might be saying something useful. Let me take it in and take it away and contemplate it. Maybe it's helpful. And if we investigate and it's not useful, we cast it aside, that's fine. But that's not a good mature quality. When you take it in, you investigate, and you find out for yourself. You compare it to Buddha's teaching and see. And then the other angry one is we're angry and then we're very stubborn with anger. So this is when we have a lot of mental rigidity. We hold on to our views. We think this person doesn't know, I know. And I'm not going to budge from what I know. So this person, I don't want to listen to it. They're wrong. And so that's the kind of anger that comes up. I mean, a lot of these things you see in the workplace, you see in family situations, you see with friends as well, you see it in Dhamma. And then the last of the four angry ones is that we're angry and we border on uttering words of anger. So this means we're listening to it, maybe our body language changes, we're getting angry, we start to fold our arms, our face scrunches up. We don't say the angry words, but we might, make these sounds and everything. Like you see that in kids, like if you've seen that in your own kids or when we were kids, we're very good at coming up with anger and getting very stubborn and then almost saying angry words. So there's many examples we can use here from daily life when someone tries to help us at work. There's different forms of anger arise. In the mind, it's very much, who does this person think they are to tell me this? And we won't let go, we won't budge. If the anger is very strong, that means we're not willing to hear, not willing to receive something that is like a hidden treasure. So the Dhammapada verse that I didn't read out, but related to Venerable Bhagavathera, is the Buddha was saying in that particular Dhammapada verse, It's good to associate with a wise person, one that will instruct you and one that will reprove you, like admonish you, because they're guiding you like a hidden treasure. So it's very good to hang around, be surrounded by people who are wise, not the other ones. So in the same way, when we're angry or any of these other good qualities, we miss the hidden treasure. That's the point. There are hidden treasures being revealed to us and we're blocking it. That's why we can't understand Dhamma, that's why we can't make progress. So it's very important, if someone is courageous enough to come and speak, to come and tell you something, give them a little time. Don't get angry straight away. Like, look at the anger and say, maybe this person is giving me some hidden treasure. Maybe. Let me go away and investigate that. So that can be very helpful because sometimes friends come along and they say, that monk you're listening to, he's distorting the Dhamma. And we get angry because that's our favorite teacher, maybe our only teacher. Or they say, oh, there's this lay teacher, she's not very good. You should be careful because they're actually teaching you the wrong thing. And so what happens is because we really like our teachers, we say, you know, we might get really angry inside, we might get very stubborn, we might not want to listen. But whether it's true or not, it's very important to think, maybe my friend is trying to help me. Let me check it out. So there's something in that. Likewise, if we are growing in bad qualities, like we're drinking or using bad words, and a friend comes and says, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that, you know, we get angry. The thing is, that person may actually be trying to help by saying, Buddha said this, maybe if you can, please do that. So there are different things in Dhamma where people come along, sometimes they only come once and then they go away, but it's a real blessing if you can receive it. So then the next 5 in the Anumana Sutta are around being reproved, like getting feedback. I know people don't often like getting feedback, that's a fact. Even at work, there's 360-degree feedback. People don't like it. You get feedback from your bosses, you get feedback from your colleagues, you get feedback from people that report to you. It's very uncomfortable. And in this thing that Anumana Sutta is saying, he's saying, well, we need to receive feedback about practice because sometimes our friends can tell us, our teachers can tell us where we're going wrong. So the first one is when we're reproved, we resist the reprover. So again, someone comes and tells us something about Dhamma, or maybe something else, maybe something in daily life. And what we do is immediately our barriers go up. We say, I don't want to listen to this. I'm going to reject it. And, you know, kids are often like that as well. Kids are like, mom and dad is saying something? No. So that's the first thing. The minute something said, we think, no, I'm not going to hear it. The second one is when we're reproved, we derogate the reprover. So we might say to the person, what do you know? You've only been practicing for a little while. What do you know? Or even at work, sometimes a colleague would come up and say, maybe you should do this. And maybe, you know, we can do this together on this project. And you say, oh, what do you know? I've been here longer. I know the way this works. So in Dhamma, the same thing. Like, oh, I've been keeping 5 precepts for longer. I've been listening to the Dhamma. I know this and this sutras. What do you know? So you're erasing the person who's come along, their good qualities, you know, which is not a good thing to do. It's very bad. Likewise, the next one is when we're reproved, we actually turn it around and accuse the reprover. So they might come and say to us, oh, you shouldn't do that frivolous talk because Buddha said it increases delusion. And so we turn around and we say to them, I heard you having frivolous talk, gossiping a few days ago. How can you tell me what to do about frivolous talk? And we have a point. However, the outcome of that is that 2 people do not correct the bad quality. You get into a fight because you're arguing over being accused and accusing that. So it's not a good outcome. So there are many instances of that. Like even in daily life, you might have a neighbor and a neighbor comes and says, oh, you put the wall in the wrong place. You know, you came too close to my place. And then you say to them, well, actually, I'm on the boundary. I've made it in the correct place. Look at what you did with the front gate that you put on your house. It's impinging on my house. So, you know, we have so many examples where we turn around and we accuse. This is one that I find very, very useful to look at. Like all of them are, but this one I found particularly useful because the immediate thing when we get feedback from someone is to defend ourselves. So when we accuse someone back, or when we derogate someone, or when we don't want to take the feedback, we're in defensive mode. So what comes out of our words is usually, I'll attack you. We think that person may be attacking us, they're not, they're trying to help. But we immediately think, oh, let me find a fault in you. So the way to do this in practice, when you meditate on it for a while, is to sit with it. If someone is giving you feedback, listen and stay quiet. Wait a long time. And you don't even really need to respond. And if there's anger, there's other things there, watch that. But don't hurt the person who is trying to help you. Wait. Now the fourth one of the reproving is when we're reproved, we prevaricate. We leave the talk aside. And inside we're bitter, we're hateful, and we can't stand the person. So here we're trying to dodge what the person is saying. The person is giving us some good advice, whatever that is, and we're talking about something else. Like, oh, did you hear about that teacher the other day? Or, oh, in the news there was this. But inside we're fuming. We're really angry that this person dared to give us some feedback, to admonish us. But we leave the talk aside and keep doing it. Like each time they bring it back and they try and say, friend, you know, there's this thing and maybe you should look at it. And each time we say, oh, you know, we'll pick a different topic and talk about that. Oh, the economy, all the politics. So inside we're angry with the person, but we're using these tactics. So these are good qualities, very cool qualities. Then the last one, when it comes to being reproved, is that we fail to account for our conduct. So inevitably, this is where we end up. We can't be bothered with any of this feedback. We're not going to count whether we did it or we didn't do it. We don't care. It's like we've gone into a concrete bunker. So you can't get through a concrete bunker. So what happens is we don't want to listen to a word of what's been said. Nothing at all. And so you can see, even up until this point, if a person is trying to instruct, a person is trying to be helpful, a person is trying to show hidden treasure, what we've done is we've made ourselves untrustworthy because we're difficult to instruct. That person would think, too hard. They might keep trying, but at some point they will go, I can't be around this person, too many bad qualities. Let me just let them be, let somebody else help them. So this is how we lose our good friends. This is how we become someone of a pariah when it comes to people that are making progress, people that are wanting to understand Dhamma, wanting to be subhata, easy to instruct, wanting to bend, to lift the mind to the Buddha's teaching. So then, with these ones, we'll take a few moments, pick your own example of any of them, where someone has tried to give you feedback, and you think, have I got this? So if you don't like it in somebody else, you look and you say, oh, I might have something like that. Like when someone reproves me, I knock back, I defend myself, I fail to account for myself, I accuse somebody else. Other people won't like it in me. So then when you see it, as you look at your example now, You realize, I need to abandon this, because otherwise nobody is going to show me hidden treasure. So take a few moments, see whether you have your own example, and make sure you disapprove of it. Make sure you want to abandon it. So then the next few are about the Anumana Sutta, the simile of the cloth. So if you know the simile of the cloth, then you know how to clean the mind of these, because these are the unwholesome qualities, the unskilled states of the mind. These meditations are very much about Chittanupassana, knowing the nature of the mind, overcoming it. So the first two, they're in pairs, are derogation and disparaging. So we went through these before, and some of you will already know these. So when we derogate, we remove someone's good qualities. Someone comes to help us and we belittle them. Then derogation, that's that one, Makka. Then Palasa is the divisiveness or disparaging. So this is wanting to split people. So there are two friends and we don't like one of them. And so we split them apart so we can just have our friend. Or in the family, we like one person better than the other. So we give preference to that person and we might try and sway them towards us. So that's the divisiveness or disparaging. You can see these are qualities that pollute the mind. The mind cannot concentrate when it's so caught up in unwholesome qualities. So again, just take a few moments. Is there anything that we have done this week that has been derogation, that has been disparaging, where we remove people's good qualities or we're trying to split people? If we see it in our example, we disapprove. We don't want to do that. That would obstruct us from being easy to instruct. So we make a strong determination, let me not have these qualities. So again, take a few moments and just reflect. Is there anything like that that's obstructing me? Let me remove it. And then the next qualities are envy and stinginess. So envy is when we think he or she has, I haven't. He or she can, I can't. So we envy something in somebody else. And the thing about envy is we always think somebody is having more pleasure. You know, Buddha teaches us about the Four Noble Truths, that because of this birth, we have aging, sickness, and death. So no matter what somebody is experiencing, they still have that same predicament, bound to dukkha, having the dukkha nature. So what is there to be envious about? It's something to reflect upon. Then the other one is stinginess. So stinginess comes in all forms. It can be stinginess for gain, gaining in the world, gaining from money, from things that are given, gaining from our dwelling. So stinginess towards our dwelling. So that includes our own body. We are very protective of this body. We're very protective of our home, our abode. We're stingy about our reputation. We're also stingy about our groups, our country, those sorts of things. And we're also stingy about the Dhamma. So when you think about stinginess, like if you try and help someone who's very much caught up in the stock market, for example, it's very hard to help that person because that person is always thinking about the stock market. They have stinginess towards that. So when you look at these qualities, it's important to see that when we have qualities of envy, of stinginess, we don't like those qualities in other people. When people are not generous, when people are always envious, we don't like that. So if we have examples from our own life that are like that, it's very good to clean that up, because People won't find us trustworthy, won't find us easy to instruct. So we need to make sure that when we see it in our meditation, that we remove that. We disapprove of having envy and having stinginess. We take a few moments just to think, is there anything this week where there has been envy, where there has been stinginess? Time to remove it. And so now we come to being hypocritical and also being fraudulent or corrupt. So this is very easy to see. Hypocrisy is very much when we say we have sila that we don't have, that we pretend. We pretend to know more than we really know. We pretend that our meditation practice is better than it actually is. And in the mundane sense, when you show things on social media, but it's not like that all the time. When it comes to fraud, satha, this is where we deceive people, we're corrupt. This is very closely associated with taking what is not given. So we may misuse things at work, or we say things in order to gain something from somebody else, but we're deceiving them. So again, we don't like that in other people. We don't like when people are pretentious, pretending to be better than what they are, covering up their bad qualities. We don't like it when people deceive us and are corrupt, misuse things. And so if we have any of our own examples, and then maybe from childhood, where we've done certain things, then we clean it. This makes us ruvacha, so we need to clean it. We disapprove of these kinds of qualities. So again, just take a few moments and double check. Do I have any of these qualities? People wouldn't like it. I don't like it in other people. Let me remove it. And then the last pair is obstinacy or stubbornness and arrogance. You can already see when we went through glorifying ourselves and belittling others or having contempt for others, this is very much about arrogance. So Venerable Mahamoggallana repeats it again. When we're stubborn about our view, we're stubborn about how we practice, how we learn the Dhamma, what we know. Or maybe we're arrogant about our life, that we're wealthy, that we know a lot, that we have a lot of qualifications, that we have a lot of experience, that we get a lot of respect. When we have these qualities, we forget that with this birth, we're subject to old age, sickness, and death. It's the equalizer. What is there to be arrogant about just because we have good punya in this life? So it doesn't mean that we don't enjoy these things, but at the same time, the Dhamma is telling us no need to get deluded by that. It's important to always remember this body is of the nature to sicken, to age, and to pass away. We are not free of that. That keeps us very, very honest in terms of the unwholesome qualities. People don't often remind us, but it's very, very important. So when it comes to obstinacy and arrogance, we don't like it in other people. We don't like it when people boast and show off and act in a very looking down at other people way, when they have very strong views. It's very hard to teach people, to correct people, to help people who are arrogant because they think they know better. I know better. Look at me, I'm so successful. Look at me, I've got so much money. Look at me, I come from a really good family. Look at me, look at me. It's very sad to see that because arrogance is probably the biggest barrier. Even when you think about the higher fetters, conceit is one of the higher fetters. But we must look at it. It makes us very difficult to instruct. So just have a think. Think of an example that you have. You know that you don't like this in other people. So if we have it, other people wouldn't like it in us. So you check your example and then you think, Let me remove this. I disapprove all this meditation, having obstinacy, and having arrogance. So the last one, number 16, of the 16 difficult to instruct qualities is when we adhere to our own views. We hold on to them tenaciously, like very strongly, and we give them up with difficulty. So you can see, you start with bad wishes, you go through anger and all these different things about being reproved. You have all these unwholesome mindsets and you end up holding on to one's own views. So this is a very, very important one, because when you think about, we come to this birth with a lot of ignorance and we breed more delusion. If we don't overcome wrong views, it means that we have the wrong apprehension about what this life is about. Like we might get angry thinking, why is she always reminding about birth, old age, sickness, and death? But the point is, if we don't remember that, we slide into the wrong view. We think, oh, my life, my life. Someone holding tenaciously to their view would think, oh, I've got plenty of time. I'll do my job and bring up my family, and this can all wait. You know, what's the rush? Or a person might think, oh, you know, I'll do my meditation this way. I'll just go to a really pleasant mind state, but I never contemplate dukkha. Or a person might think, oh, I'll just follow this person and I'm going to tell the teacher what they should teach, because we shouldn't teach about lower realms. We shouldn't teach about all these other things. I know better. You should teach the Dhamma the way I think it should be taught. But if you follow a sutta meditation, that's not what we do. We follow exactly the way it's taught in the suttas. Like Venerable Mahamokkalana is teaching us this way, so we follow it this way. So this one is a really, really bad one when it comes to how we are blocked from progressing, because along the way, as we make progress, and we do make progress, we stagnate when we get bogged down by thinking, now we know. Now we get to the jhanas, now we know. But we forget the jhanas are only things that we go and meditate and develop, but then we're meant to let go of them for nibbana. Or, for example, we think, oh, it's all about sila, it's all about sila. But the thing is, the Buddha said, Noble Eightfold Path is not about just sila. Sila is one component, but what about the view? What about other things? What about the concentration? What about the wisdom? What about the liberation? And then what about nibbana? So this is for people also who are already making progress. One needs to always check, am I still following what the Buddha taught? Or am I actually starting to decline? Or am I just stagnating? So take a few moments just to double check if there's any example you have that is like that. Disapprove of it. Say, let me be always the learner, willing to adjust and check my right view. Make sure it's still right view. Let me be willing to give up the one that is incorrect. So we've now looked at the 16 qualities that make us difficult to instruct. So the mind is more purified now. That means we are now able to have the good qualities, which are the exact opposite, which means, and I'll just list them out, we're not going to meditate on them, but they're basically saying that we don't have the bad wishes and we're not dominated by bad wishes. We don't raise ourselves and lower others. We don't have the 4 different types of anger because we've cleaned it. We don't deny, obstruct, accuse, reject when someone reproves us in those 5 different ways. We don't derogate and disparage. We don't have envy and stinginess. We don't have fraud and hypocrisy. We don't have obstinacy and arrogance. And we're willing to give up any wrong views. Now, Venerable Mahamogala then says, he gives this simile of the mirror. He says, if you were to look in the mirror, so at the beginning, before we started this talk, we would look in the mirror and we would see blemishes. So, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, there's a mark here, there's a mark there, let me clean it. So what we did during this session is we cleaned. We cleaned all the different blemishes. And so now we look in the mirror and we see, they're all gone. Right now in this meditation, contemplation, right now, they're all gone. So Venerable Mahamoggallana says, this is what makes the mind happy. Because the reason why when we meditate, the mind genuinely gets happy is because it takes so much effort to be honest in our meditation, to say, yes, I did go the wrong way. And now I understand I'm going to disapprove of that. So the mind gets happy because with effort, it's saying, let me do what the Buddha said. I have conviction, confidence in Buddha, in the noble disciples of the Buddha who are teaching this Dhamma. Yes, it's true. So in your meditation, when you're doing this sequentially, the mind gets very happy when you look in the mirror, figuratively, and you see, I have cleaned the mind. And therefore, my friends and my companions in the spiritual life, they will want to help me. They will want to teach me. They will want to admonish me. And the path and the development on the path gets swifter. It's quicker because someone is helping to show you hidden treasure. So this particular quality of being suvacha as opposed to duvacha, easy to instruct as opposed to difficult to instruct. Good friends, kalyana mittas, come towards you. Bad friends, papa mitata, they won't want to be with you. It's just a natural dhamma. They prefer to do the unwholesome things, to pollute the mind, to think that there is sukha that is lasting. With good friends, they come together and say, yeah, there might be a little bit of sukha, but the real permanent sukha is the sukha of nibbana, the one that will last, the one that is safe, the one that can never be taken away from us. So when we're easy to instruct, this is what makes progress possible. This is what makes attainment possible. So if we want to attain path and fruit, this is what makes it possible. So just for a few minutes, what I'd like to do, because suvacha, being easy to instruct and we're clean now, it's a quality for metta. And what I can say is, when you know that you have these qualities, you can go from the third step of metta to the seventh step of metta. You become a wise person because you know that you've removed anger, hostility, harshness, some of the wrong view. And so when you wish metta from this place, you understand we are all subject to birth, with birth, because we birth this body, there is old age, sickness, and death. So we are of the nature that is dukkha bound. Everyone is the same. It doesn't matter what family we're born to. It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter what gender, what race, what orientation. None of that matters. It doesn't matter what job we have, what qualifications. Everyone, all creatures are all the same. So for the next few minutes, what we can do is we can cultivate metta to all living beings. So in your meditation, you reflect, I now have these good qualities that make me easy to instruct. I'm now wise. So we're not doing the metta that says, I only give metta to me and my family, me and the people I like at work, me and the people that believe what I believe. No, we're not doing that. We're doing lifting the mind, and we're saying we're doing metta to all living beings, because all living beings, they are subject to aging, sickness, and death. There is dukkha. We understand that. And so whether they're animals, whether they're seen, unseen, whether they're in any of the realms of existence, we can wish them, may you be free from suffering, may you be happy and well, may you have supreme safety, may you have supreme happiness that does not change. So let's do our meditation for another few minutes and then we can have questions and answers. Okay, let's meditate. Teruvan Saranai.